Hey everybody, Cannon here with more tech. In this video, we are going to be talking about how to turn your base robot into a mini Roomba. So to start, we're going to open up Arduino Create, go to Libraries, and search Moorbot. You'll see the Moorbot library come up. We're just going to click on Examples and go down to the second from the bottom, the one that says Moorbot and Motors Ultrasonic. So if you click on that, it'll open up. Once you try to type on it, it'll ask you to save it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rename this Moorbot Roomba 2. Okay, so now I've got my code. And let's just take a second before we upload this to kind of look at what's going on. So at the top, we're just including the library. We're setting up a robot with an ultrasonic sensor, telling the robot to set up. And here's where the real meat of the program is. We've got this statement right here that says float distance equals bot.readDistance. What that's doing is creating what's called a variable that holds the distance. And remember, this is in the loop. So this program, this chunk of code right here, is just running continuously. So at the very beginning, we're setting a variable called distance equal to bot.readDistance. So anytime you see the word distance, just know that that's the number in centimeters, how far away something is. So first we've got an if statement, and if it says if distance less than 0 is not true, which is what this exclamation mark means, do whatever in here. And what this basically means is if the distance is greater than 0. It's just another way to write it. So if the distance is greater than 0, which is used to check for whenever there's something wrong, if something's too far away from the sensor for it to see, it will think that there's nothing and just send back 0. Now, if we look right in here, this is what the robot does whenever it sees something or doesn't see something in front of it. So if something is closer than 30 centimeters, the bot's going to do whatever's in here, which is just spin the left motor clockwise at 50% speed. If the robot doesn't see something closer than 30 centimeters, it's just going to stop the motor. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this to my code. And I'm going to plug in my robot. So now my hand is in front of the sensor, and you can hear it running. But as soon as I remove my hand, it stops. And this is pretty cool. And we can change some numbers. Like, for example, we could change this number to less than 10. So what this would do is, now if anything is less than 10 centimeters away, or closer than 10 centimeters, it'll run. Otherwise, it won't. So I can hold my hand further out, which you can't really see, but if my hand gets too close, it will still run. Now this is really useful and all, but what if we wanted to make our robot move? This doesn't really work for a Roomba robot, right? For a Roomba robot, you want it to be driving unless it sees something, and then if it sees something, you need it to do something else. So let's start by changing what the robot should do if it becomes too close to an obstacle. So if something is less than, let's go ahead and change it back to 30 centimeters. We want it to run whatever code is in here. So for starters, why don't we just turn the robot around? So let's just say bot.left. We'll go at 40% speed for half a second. And then we'll go ahead and say forward at 50% speed. So it keeps going. Now, the reason why I had delay 200 right here is if this number is really large, it's going to keep doing this command for a while, and there's a chance that it can run into something else. So you want to kind of keep this small. Now, the other thing we need to do is change whatever it does whenever something is not too close. And if nothing is in the way, we want the robot to keep going. So we're going to say bot.forward 50, delay, we'll do 200 here as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and upload this code. And what my robot should do is just take off running, and I'm going to hold it up so it doesn't do that. Alright, so it's running. Now whenever I put my hand in front of it, you might hear a slight change in the sound, and that's because it's trying to turn around. And so I can set this on the ground and see that it works. So whenever I run this code, what the robot does is turn around pretty much a full 180 and continues forward until it sees something else. So this is the basic structure of Roomba Code. And the things that you can play around with, you can change this statement right here to be if distance is greater than 0. You could also change this number to look for things that are closer. You could say if distance is less than 10 centimeters, turn around, or do whatever's in here. You could also change this code. You could have it turn forward, then maybe turn right again. There's a lot of different things you could do. It's up to you. But go ahead and play with that and see if you can make a robot that can not get stuck in a room. So you could just let it go and it's always going to be running. I'll give you a little bit of a warning. Chair legs are going to be really tricky with this, so be careful. And remember that if your robot runs into a wall or gets stuck and keeps running, you could damage the motor. So make sure whenever it runs into something, you go ahead and pick it up and stop it. But other than that, have fun.